When I see an email that's long, that's badly formatted, or that looks like an ebook of all your musical accomplishments, I'm probably gonna skip it. And so are my friends in the business. That's the brutal truth, and you must face the truth if you wanna get ahead. One of the biggest cardinal sins that I see when you connect with people on this side of the industry is that you send them 11, 12, 13 SoundCloud links. Now, folks, again, if we as music producers are chasing deadly deadlines and we have to solve musical problems at breakneck speed, do you really think I have time to check out 12 SoundCloud links? As soon as I see 12 links, I get analysis paralysis.
Which link should I check out?
I get all stressed out, I get overwhelmed, and then I delete the email. It's unfortunate, but it's true. So many musicians get so excited when they see this workshop or they see one of our videos on our YouTube channel that they write me this glowing, excited, enthusiastic email, and then I never hear from them again. That's why, as a rule, I almost never answer when a musician writes me for the first time. And the reason for this is I want to test your commitment to the process of making a connection with me. The way we advise our students to connect with our business, politely following up, gently knocking on the door, but persistently to show that you're serious and dedicated. This is what it's going to take to make a connection with this business. Another mistake that I see musicians making is that when you take me to your website, it looks like a flea market. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to leave. I got to shut it down immediately. 45 pages, 17 EPs. Where do I start? Again, I'm chasing deadly deadlines in my business. I don't have time to get lost in the flea market right now. I got to shut it down. This is why, folks, musicians in our academy learn how to create simple but powerful and irresistible ways of writing emails, ways of building a website, ways that will actually resonate with music producers on this side of the fence so that you can create a powerful first impression instead of being ignored, instead of sabotaging your chances for making the connection. Because folks, we've learned as pros on this side to work very quickly. We can smell instant amateur vibes. And we've had to learn to work very quickly because time is so limited in our business. Do you see, this is why there are very specific things that you have to do as a musician if you want to break into this business. Let's talk about them. If you want to turn pro, which is a frequency, which is a smell that professionals in our business pick up immediately on, your emails have to be what I call CCC, crisp, clear, and compelling. What does it mean? Your email has character and it has vibe. I'm not hearing from a real estate developer. I'm not hearing from a vacuum salesman. I'm not hearing from a used car dealer, from a financial controller who's writing me stiff emails. I'm hearing from a crafty, creative, and cool musician. Your email is crisp. It is clear. I don't have 17 paragraphs with 32 SoundCloud links. I don't have a novella where I'm trying to figure out what the parable is, what the moral of the story is. The email is clear and to the point. I don't have 50 links to check out. There is one link, it's staring me right in the face, and it's almost automatic that I'm gonna click it. And even if I ignore your first email, you email me after a few days again. And even if I ignore this email, you email me again. And folks, if you fashion these emails, if you fashion these follow-ups in the right way, you don't have to be afraid of being irritating. We appreciate a well-crafted, persistent follow-up, which is what we encourage all the students in our academy to do. We also teach how to create a site that is so damn simple, but it is immediately striking, immediately giving me, the music producer, the right impression so that I give you your first opportunity. We always teach that it's not about 17 pieces of music, it's about one reel that's going to give a music producer instant impression, insight into your sensibility as a musical creator. Folks, if you give me goosebumps in the first few seconds, I'm going to give you the next few seconds. And if you give me goosebumps in the next few seconds, I'll give you a few more seconds. This is essentially how it works. And so many of you make the mistake of sending us a 7-minute ballad where we actually have to figure out,
okay, where is the part that I could picture going into a commercial?
That's a mistake you don't want to make. And yet 90% of you make that mistake. So instead, we teach the musicians in our academy how to dial everything in just right. The email, the website, the reel, so that it actually suits the context in which music producers like me and all my peers in the business actually live and work. The goal is to create an instant impression so that you get on our radar and stay on that radar until we give you the first shot, and you can follow up and prove yourself to belong in the business by giving us goosebumps with your demo delivery. More than anything, my mission, when I'm not producing music for a commercial, is to be the best possible mentor that I never had, to turn you from a dabbling amateur into a dedicated pro. Folks, let's face some more brutal facts. The industry doesn't have time. It's not there to educate you. The industry doesn't care about your fancy diploma from a fancy prestigious musical school. I get graduates of all sorts of fancy musical schools coming to me, and they realize on their first day they haven't done any learning yet. They're about to learn, and they're about to learn in the kitchen of reality, working on real jobs and not trying to remember what their musical professor taught them. So folks, it's not about your diploma. We are the only music house in the world that not only makes music for brands, but teaches our life's work. I don't know about any other music production company that actually teaches what it is that we do. The fact is, folks, if you want to get ahead, you gotta follow those who are ahead. But we're not the heroes in this story, friend. You are. And every hero needs a guide. So if you want to take off, stop flying solo. Folks, this is why our academy is a structured 7-step path, all the way from building a foundation, teaching you the specific intricacies of our craft, having you work on real projects, real case studies, all the way to building an irresistible reel, a simple but a powerful website, teaching you how to reach out to the industry, giving you a directory of music houses to kickstart your network, and then holding your hand all the way through until you get your first paying project. And the best thing about our academy, and the thing that I think musicians appreciate the most, and the thing that I believe gives the biggest value, is actually giving you feedback every step along the way. You see, you couldn't ask for this feedback when you approach the industry. Because if you ask someone, well, what do you think of this? Then you instantly betray yourself as an amateur. Whereas in our academy, you have the training ground where you can be safe, comfortable and secure in being able to ask those kind of questions. You can be doubtful. You can be uncertain. You can be vulnerable. You can come to us and say, what do you think about this? And let us tell you if we think what you're trying to do is going to work within our business. Folks, how much is that worth? I think that is priceless. The goal is to get your first paying project. There are countless examples of musicians who never knew about this path, but they have gone with us step by step through the academy. And now not only have they gotten their first paying project, but some of these musicians have gone on to make this their full-time career. The beautiful news is you don't have to make this your full-time career. You can spend half of your day creating music for art's sake, which I think is a beautiful thing, and half of your day to make music to be able to send beautiful invoices for it. You don't even have to put your name on it if you don't want. But having the ability to get paid to sit in the studio and create music, I think is a beautiful thing. And so we've had countless students like Stian, Ricardo, Tis, Lydia, Lena, Elna, Beppe, Pedro, Luis, Mateus, Mateo, Fiona, Ivo, Tom, David, Davide, Trevor, and so many more who have gone through our 7-step process and come out on the other end with their first paying project. The beautiful thing about our path is that people might not pay for music, tours might get canceled again, but brands will always create content to capture hearts and minds. And this content and music, which moves hearts and minds, will always be made by craftspeople, just like you and me, sitting in our home studios, creating goosebumps and getting handsomely paid for it. Our path is a future-proof path. Now, folks, the reality is if you want to go to a fancy music school, you're going to pay a fancy tuition. I've seen some of these musical programs charging 20 grand a year or more just so you have what? At the end of your 3-4 years? Fancy diploma. I told you before, diplomas don't work in our business. We want to see what you're actually capable of doing. What is a piece of paper going to help me produce? Not much. So I'm looking at your creative capabilities, your ability to deliver goosebumps to a particular musical brief, That's what I'm willing to pay for. This piece of paper doesn't mean anything to me. Folks, if you ask me to mentor you on an hourly basis, it takes over 40 hours for us to teach you everything we know inside of our academy. I mean, even if I discounted my time, you'd be looking at tens of thousands of dollars for you to hire us to teach you step by step everything that we know. I've seen online programs for musicians that cost $5,000 and they don't even teach you how to make that money back. I'm not going to charge you 20 grand. I'm not going to charge you 12. I'm not going to charge you 5 grand. The regular fee for lifetime access to our academy is normally $3,500, which I believe is a fraction of the value that we actually provide. I mean, think about it. How much is it worth to you to be sitting in your studio and actually invoicing for it? I think it's worth a lot more than $3,500. But today is a beautiful day because we're not even going to charge you $3,500. Today, my friends, we're going to present you with a special limited time offer for lifetime access to our academy. We're going to take 40% off for lifetime access. Your price today, if you take advantage of it in the next few minutes, is going to be $19.97. Now, not only will you get 40% off for lifetime access, we're going to present you with some limited time only special offer bonuses. The first bonus is going to be the Music House Directory, which will kickstart your network, give you quick and easy access to over 100 music production companies active in our industry and hiring freelance musicians just like you working out of their home studio. This would have saved me hundreds of hours when I was getting started, and I believe the value of this is truly priceless. The second limited time bonus that you're gonna get if you sign up today is if you wanna sound like a pro, you gotta have the tools of the pros. We've connected with some of the finest musical tools and software companies in the world to give you exclusive discounts on world-class brands like FabFilter, iZotope, Arturia, and so many more, so that you can use what the pros in our business are using, but at the same time, not be like an amateur paying the full ticket price. Save yourself some money. And bonus number 3 is you're gonna get to join our community. The community of musicians who are on their way to their first paying project. Some of them who have already gotten their first paying projects. Some of them who are actually working full-time in a business. And the most beautiful thing about our community is when you become a part of this masterclass, you will get, once in a while, opportunities to pitch, to create, to compete for real projects in our business. Projects that we receive as a music production company that once in a while we decide to offer to all of our students as a contest so you can get a shot at your first real industry project. So let's sum up, folks. Everything that you get today when you join. You get 40 plus hours of hands-on practical curriculum in granular detail. You get a detailed look at real case studies that happen in our business. You would never see the project from the inside this way anywhere else. You will improve your craft by working on real case studies, by doing homework and getting feedback on this homework. You will get personal feedback from pros, which I believe, once again, it's priceless to get feedback from a pro on how you're doing as a freelance composer. We've had many people who actually started not sounding so great, but they never gave up. They kept sending us stuff. We kept giving them concrete things they should improve on. And 3 months later, they were a completely different composer. So folks, this is invaluable. You will build together with us, step by step, an irresistible reel, a site to showcase your superpower. You will have membership to our community. You will have a directory of music production companies to kickstart your network. You're gonna have exclusive discounts on world-class pro studio tools so that you don't pay the full ticket price. You're gonna have, most importantly, the transformation from a lost amateur doodler dabbler to a dedicated focused pro, which I believe is priceless. And the ultimate goal that we have for you is to get you your first paying gig. So I'm not even sure how to tabulate all of this value. This is not a question for me. This is a question for you. As you read through all of this, what is it worth to you? Now, I believe even our regular price is a fraction of the value that the masterclass provides. But again, today, if you're serious about taking the next step, you have an opportunity to join us with a 40% discount for lifetime access. Entering our academy at a discounted rate for lifetime access is a no-brainer because you get a 7-day money-back guarantee for whatever reason. If you're unsatisfied or unhappy, for whatever reason. So folks, right now I'm putting the offer up on the screen. You have a few minutes to take advantage of this offer, 40% off for lifetime access. And while some of you are taking advantage of this offer, I'm going to answer some most commonly asked questions in order to give you some time to take advantage of this offer and to clear up any last minute doubts you might have. So offer is on the screen right now. Let's get some questions answered. And by the way, if you do not see the offer, if you have questions, if you don't have enough time today to take advantage of the offer, you can email us, support@makingmusicforbrands.com, and we'll get it taken care of. All right, so the first question I usually get is along the lines of, will this work for me? For instance, I live in a small village in the middle of nowhere. Will this work for me? Yes, absolutely it will work for you. Why? Because our industry is location independent. I don't care where you are, what city you are. I don't care if you're making your music in the middle of a forest, in a tree house. I just don't care. Because the only thing I care about is the goosebumps. Are you able to deliver to me a well-produced, fully polished track that gives me goosebumps and fits the campaign, the commercial, or a piece of content like a glove? If you can do that, then I don't care where you're located. So location has nothing to do with anything. The only thing I would caution you about is please make sure you have a reliable internet connection, because we're sending files. Sometimes these are big files because we're sending movie files and music files over the internet, and sometimes deadlines are deadly. So you really do want to make sure that our communication happens really fast. So rest assured, this is all remote work. You never have to leave your home studio. In fact, some of the musicians that I've worked with for over 10 years, I've never met them in person. So it doesn't matter where you are. All that matters is the goosebumps, and are you able to deliver them? Now, another question that sometimes people follow up with is like, I'm not really great at mixing, or I'm not great at this or that. I'm not really technically proficient yet in the studio. Should I maybe spend more time on music production courses or get my mixing up to par? And this is what I usually say. Folks, you have an opportunity today to learn about a path that is future-proof to make a living right from your home studio. I don't believe that you should delay learning about our business. If I was in your shoes, this is what I would do. Determine what focus, what direction are you going to take, because that's going to inform what kind of music production do you learn? What specific studio skills do you learn? What specific methods of songwriting or mixing do you learn? So that is first and foremost what most people should be focusing on, giving goosebumps and not worrying about technical details. But the second thing I'm going to say to you is our academy not only teaches you how to break into the business, how to showcase yourself, but some people who joined our academy, their reel is not remarkable yet. They don't have the production skills necessary in order to break into our business. And you know what's happened with them? They send us their homework anyway, and we lead them step by step to getting better as a composer, to getting better as a songwriter, to improving their craft. Who better to advise you on your craft, on the standard, on the way in which you should sound, than someone who's on the inside of the business and can compare between a piece of music they're likely to select and a piece of music that is not ready yet? Who would you rather be mentored by but by someone on the inside? So this is our difference. We not only help you to improve as a craftsperson, but we do this so that you go on your way to your first paying project, and hopefully a lot more than that. Another question I usually get is, how long will it take? You know, I get these very specific questions like, how many days from the time I take the masterclass to my first paying project? Folks, these are impossible questions to answer because everybody's different. Everybody can take this masterclass at their own pace. There are people who joined our masterclass and they had their first gig after a month. There are people who joined their masterclass and they had their first gig after a year. There's so many different factors, variables, and circumstances that I cannot answer this. All I can promise you is this. If you have the talent, the tenacity, and the commitment, and you follow the masterclass step by step, exactly as it laid out, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. It might not be immediate, but your success, if you have the talent, the tenacity, and you do everything as we instruct step by step, your success may not be immediate, but it will be inevitable. Now, folks, another kind of questions that we get is what kind of feedback can I expect from you guys? How does the feedback process actually take place? Well, it's very simple. You will see real projects as you go through the academy that we will ask you to score. You will get the brief, you will score them. Then we give you instructions on how to send this work to us. And you will get in return a Loom video from my music producer, the guy who is actually heading our musical kitchen, the guy who is responsible for all of the commercial projects that we produce now on a world-class level, the guy who is a former masterclass student. He, better than anyone else, as a freelance composer who's composed for a lot of different music houses in the world, he, as a music producer, the guy who actually does music production for my music production company, he, the guy who actually sits inside of his DAW creating music, putting together music, evaluating music from other composers, there is no better person to give you feedback on your work. He will send you a Loom video. And with some of our students, he goes back and forth for months. And he tells me, Uncle Z, I just cannot believe how much progress some of these folks who are actually focused and dedicated, who don't give up, I can't believe how much progress they make. They entered the academy and they were barely able to make music that sounds any good. And 3 months later, after I went back and forth with them, telling them exactly what they need to do to improve their craft, you should hear their demos now. And so he sends me demos of our students that he finds remarkable. And that's how we know which students should we be paying attention to. Which students should we have on our radar? Now, another email that I get from time to time is, what guarantees do I have? What percentage of students actually make it? Folks, first of all, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. There are no guarantees in life. There are no guarantees in work. The only guarantee that I can give you is this. If you have the talent and you have the tenacity and you diligently follow the steps, step by step, as we lay them out in the academy, your success may not be immediate, but it is inevitable. Now, another question that I get often is, what advice would you give to musicians who want to make a living with music today? At a time when it's difficult to do so, well, folks, I really laid it out today in this workshop, didn't I? Number one, stop trying to sell your music to people who can get it for free. Number two, unless you're hell-bent on streaming, this is not something that I would advise most musicians. You don't want to be chasing the Spotify algorithm and having the pressure of generating 800,000 streams every single month so you can make $15 an hour. Most people probably don't want to be sitting on a tour bus or lugging heavy equipment around. And so my advice is go where the money is. Who has the money? Brands have the money. What do they need? They need to get content, campaigns, and commercials out there. And who do they hire to create the music? All kinds of freelance creators, including freelance musicians just like you. This is the simple path that we teach. It is a future-proof path. And I would advise you, if you're serious about making a living as a musician, this is a path that you need to seriously consider. Because I don't really see any other paths out there, unless you want to be a star on stage. But what about all of us who don't want to be a star on stage? We just want to spend our time in the studio and actually get paid for it. This is the only path that I know, and this is the only path that has proven to be effective in my personal journey as a musician. Now, folks, the final question that I sometimes get is, what if I enter this masterclass and I realize this is not for me? Like I mentioned before, really, to join today at a 40% discount for lifetime access is a no-brainer, because if you realize for some reason this is not for you, and I'm not sure why you would realize this, you just went through a training that explained the industry for you. But let's say for some reason you think this is not for you, or it's too much work, or you can't handle it, taking advantage of the 40% discount for lifetime access today is really a no-brainer. You can email us anytime before the 7 days up. We will ask no questions. We will simply issue the refund. Now, the beautiful thing for me, folks, is 1% is our refund rate, which means 99% of our students are satisfied, and I love to hear that. And the last thing I would say, folks, as our time is running out, is that sitting on the fence hurts, okay? I don't need you to join the academy. We're not desperate for students. I just don't want you to sit on the fence. I want you to make a decision, whatever the decision is, okay? I want you to stop sitting on the fence. It hurts. Whichever way you decide to go, I want you to go there wholeheartedly. You don't have to solve everything. You don't have to figure everything out now. I just want you to solve the next step. I just want you to make this decision right now because, folks, life is too short to keep sitting on the fence. Our time is up here. I want to congratulate you today because I believe that our time together was well spent. You now know more than 99% of the musicians out there, but what you do with this information that you learned today is up to you. Our time is up, folks. If you had some technical difficulties or you have other questions which we didn't address today, email us at support@makingmusicforbrands.com. If you want to check out some of our work, go to TommyZ.co. You will see the fruits of our musical kitchen. If you want to learn more about our academy, go to makingmusicforbrands.com. And if you want to check out more free, valuable content, go to youtube.com/@z.co. I want to thank you for your time today, giving you a big hug, and I'll see you on the inside.